Fellow Toastmasters, ladies and gentlemen. I took early retirement about 2 years ago, and I felt I should help more about the house. I thought about the simple jobs that the ladies do to run the house, the hoovering, the ironing, and the shopping on Thursdays. And I thought about the important jobs I do already. I put the bins out every Monday night. I cut the grass, and I look after the cars once a month. I give my wife her breakfast in bed every single morning with the newspaper, and she has my dinner ready in the evening when I come home. So as you can see, the household chores are already divided about 50-50. And there was really no reason for me to do anything more. But we're married 30 years this year, and I decided I'd like to go the extra mile. So one night over a candlelit dinner, I lit the candle. I said to my wife, which of the three simple jobs, the cleaning, the ironing, or the shopping, would you like me to do? Do whatever you like, she said, in a totally disgruntled voice. Even after 30 years, communication between us isn't perfect. I considered the pros and cons of the three jobs and decided ironing would suit me best. I'd do it on Tuesday morning when she was at golf. It would take about an hour. I'd watch Sky Sports television and drink coffee. No problem there. I'll do the ironing, I said. Where do you keep the ironing book? Don't be ridiculous, she said. There's no such thing as an ironing book. It's like riding a bicycle. You just do it. I knew, of course, she was wrong. Every electrical appliance comes with the book. And I looked in the drawer in the kitchen, and I found the ironing book in its original wrapper with its guarantee card unused. I was surprised to find that it had 48 pages, but relieved to find it was in 8 languages and there was only 6 pages in English. Now, an iron is more complex than you would think, gentlemen. There are 7 basic controls on it: the on-off switch, the temperature dial, the temperature light indicator, the spray button, the steam button, the self-cleaning button, and, of course, the water volume level indicator. I said to myself, anybody who can manage the intricacies of a video, a DVD, and a television can surely manage to iron. In the very front of the ironing book, there is the health and safety section, and there's a particular warning about the flex, ladies. I went and got our iron, and I was absolutely astounded to find that our flex is totally worn. I rang Philips, the manufacturer, immediately. And they said they could fix it for €48.50, but it would take 4 weeks. I decided my wife, Pat, would be very unimpressed if I started my ironing career by not ironing for 4 weeks. So I decided I would take my life in my hands and start ironing on the following Tuesday. On Tuesday morning, as Pat was going out to golf, I said to her, "Sweetheart, where do we keep the ironing board?" "Under the stairs," she said, "the same place it's been for the last 25 years. I got the ironing board, I turned on Sky Sports television, and I turned on the coffee percolator. I took the clothes out and decided to use a systematic management approach to the ironing and divide the clothes into what I termed were simple, difficult, and complex items. In the simple, I had the handkerchiefs and the napkins and the pillowcases. In the difficult, I had the T-shirts and the tops. In the complex, I had items with collars, like shirts and blouses, and items with frills and flounces, mostly not mine, I might like to add. I ironed solidly for 2 hours and found it was more difficult than I thought. I began to wonder, had I underestimated ironing, or even worse, had I underestimated household chores in general? I thought it pretty unlikely. I decided I better try a complex item. I took my first shirt, and I remembered when I got my shirts back from my wife, they were beautifully crisp and starched. And I went to look out beside the washing machine for the starch. I was very confused to find that we had two types of starch, a red starch and a blue starch. Gentlemen, a red starch is to give a good crisp finish. A blue starch is to help with really difficult ironing. In my experience, there is almost no difference between these two products, except this blue starch costs 20% more than the other. I sent an email to the managing director of Operative Stock in the UK explaining my observations and asking for his comments. I ironed until 1 o'clock. I saw nothing on television and my coffee was stone cold. I decided to cool down and take the dog for a walk. As I walked around the park, I met the Spanish au pair from 4 doors down. She told me Tuesday was her day off. I explained about my ironing problem. She said if I made her lunch, she would finish the ironing. When Pat came home at 3:30, the ironing was completed totally to her satisfaction and surprise. Now, every Tuesday morning when Pat goes for golf, the Spanish au pair comes to our house. She does all the ironing. I give her 20 euros and she is totally delighted. I watch Sky Sports television. I drink coffee and I watch Rosita Benita doing the ironing, and I am delighted. Pat comes home at 3:30 from her golf and sees all the ironing done, and she is delighted. In management terms, this is a win-win-win situation. Mr. Chairman, I really would appreciate if you could keep this matter totally confidential. Because I have a feeling if my wife finds out who's doing the ironing, I won't be celebrating my 31st wedding anniversary. Ladies and gentlemen.